I think that that's a big thing that our generation is learning right now, is even understanding happiness. If you notice so much that you see online, because we dealt with so much oppression, and you get, if you rewind back when there was just completely television, what you saw on TV was status. That was what life was about. That was what you were attaining to be. So it left a lot of people depressed, not knowing that girl that you see behind the TV screen, she just put 5 pounds of makeup on. That guy that you see right there, he just added 5 inches to his heels so that he could look taller.
Yeah.
And now people are trying to understand happiness versus that image that's kept up.
Yeah.
That I've seen a lot of younger guys right now. They're still battling it. Not only guys, but girls still battling, trying to figure out exactly what that happiness is. So that's a big subject in itself. I originally started this show to cater to the youth that I once was. While growing up, I didn't have many resources. All I knew is what I saw. I saw drug dealers, pimps, entertainers, athletes. That was all that I saw and all that I looked up to. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to become. All that I knew to become. This show will change that for the upcoming youth. I want for them to be able to see all of the amazing possibilities of what they can become. Not only what they can become, but also to hear it firsthand from someone in the trenches of becoming. I want to give them a window into the life of the powerful people in the world, to let them know that they are not alone and that they are powerful too. In order to accomplish this, we must be brutally honest about our hardships and upsides. We are all just a network of relations. We have to be able to relate to each other. It helps us understand that anything is possible. The life that God has for us is in our imagination. It's not in what we see. Shall we begin? So look, man, first I wanted to thank you because I know how busy you are.
Yeah, man.
For allowing me to sit down and chat with you. I got a book for you, man.
That's good.
I got so many questions that I got for you. I hope you got some time.
Not mad about it.
I didn't even have enough paper to print out all the questions. Now I'm lying. So look, first thing, man, is I wanted to focus on the topic of entrepreneurship with you. Love because I know that that's really the key area that you focus in, and there's a lot of people that need to hear about that entrepreneurship. So my first question for you, tell me what it is that you do right now currently.
So that's people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm just an entrepreneur. And everybody's like, oh, you're just an entrepreneur. I'm like, no, it's got a bad rap right now, but legit, man. I mean, I started my first business my senior year of high school, and built businesses, and I'm sure we'll get into all of that. But right now, I mean, I run 2 successful businesses, multi-6-figure businesses. A little college education, dropped out, and just decided to build them. So I've got Easy Pro, which is an exterior cleaning company, and we service multiple states, multiple cities, doing window cleaning, power washing. And then I've got my ad tech business, which is essentially a holding company for the brands that I'm going to build in the media segment. So we've got modernmarketingforagents.com, we've got modernmarketingforlawyers.com. So I've learned out of my first business that when the second level of entrepreneurship is just building brands. If you can just build brands, they'll hold more value, and so your companies are worth more. And so, that's what I focus on. But really, my dream and my passion is what we're doing, man. Like, I wish just every morning I could just wake up and do an interview like this, because I know, like, the people that are watching, they're gonna get something from it. And I think a lot of times they get so blocked because you think you need like the whole book. A lot of times you're just at like a blockage. So you don't need the whole book, you just need that spark to get you back rolling again, right? Yeah. And so I know when I do interviews like this, man, there's a whole bunch of those, and it helps a ton of people. So mainly just focusing on building my 2 businesses, got a little bit of real estate, diversified income, man. It's what wealthy people do. That's what I'm trying to do. Huh?
What's Amtech?
Ad tech.
Ad tech.
Yeah, like advertising technology. So we build systems and software on the back end of the social platforms to help clients run their digital advertising. Gotcha. We only focus on social media.
You said something that was really important because I see a lot of the younger age, how they're so focused on the money, the dollar sign, but you said that you're more focused on building the brand.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Yeah, because if you can build a brand in a business, it allows you to play the long game, right? There's transactional sales, which is what I started out doing. It was, sell the person on mowing their yard, and I do the thing and I get the money. There was no relationship because let's face it, like nobody wants to hang out with their lawn boy, right? Mm-hmm. Like the customer was very transactional. I was very transactional on the business side, right? But a brand is something that's bigger than the transaction. And so if you can build that, people will find value in that. They want a relationship with that, which is long-term, which in business means that the lifetime value of your customer goes up. And the lifetime value means how much over the life of that client do you take in. So like if you just go to Squeaky Pete's Car Wash one time in Jacksonville, Florida, because you're on vacation, like your lifetime value to Squeaky Pete is like $7. Right? But to Taco Bell, where I go visit a little too often, what's that lifetime value? Like DJ hits that drive-thru every once in a while, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so a brand you can build and it makes people want to be a part of it, which then to somebody that wants to buy that brand one day has more value. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I read something that was talking about how people want to actually, your focus should be developing a brand.
Yeah.
Because when you think of a brand, for example, when you think of cleaning your ears, what do you think of?
Q-tip, right? Q-tip. Which is a brand, not
brand.
A cotton swab on a stick.
Exactly, but it's actually a quality tip, right?
Yeah.
Quality swab, whatever that is. So rewind back and tell me, were you always an entrepreneur?
So yes and no. I mean, a lot of this goes into my family. I mean, on my dad's side, they're always just hustlers, right? Like my Uncle Phil, my dad, he died probably 10, 15 years ago, Uncle Phil did. My dad used to tell me that my Uncle Phil, if you owed him $5, he would sit there for a half an hour and argue with you while it was $3 and now $5, just to save the $2. So I mean, that's just, I feel like when I tell people I got entrepreneurship in my blood, I really do. Growing up, me and my dad, I mean, we were I always make the joke that my dad busted his ass, but we were hanging from the bottom rung of the middle class ladder. So I mean, we were just there. And we used to buy lawnmowers and go-karts and mopeds and fix them up. We'd paint them in the garage and clean out the carburetors and then just flip them and make $50, make $100. And after doing that 3 or 4 times, I'm like, shit, I got a really nice moped now. And I didn't pay anything for it. I just flipped it and rolled my money, and that was there. And so that in itself, that understanding how to do that, to me, that's one of the base levels of entrepreneurship. Because if you can't understand buying something that's at a discount, increasing the value of it, and then selling it to make a profit, you don't understand the basis of economics and entrepreneurship. So, and I just think there's some people that naturally get that. Tell them one time, yeah, man, that makes sense. There's other people who are I don't, they're a little uncomfortable about selling something to somebody. Well, you didn't pay as much. You're making money off of people. That's the game. So, you know what I mean? I think with entrepreneurship, I was always raised around that. And so when I realized my senior year of high school, I was working 3 part-time jobs and making almost as much mowing grass as well. So I would go to the gas station in the morning, sweep the parking lot, clean the gas pump, stock the cooler, right? A couple hours. I'd go to school. I'd co-op for myself. So I'd sign myself out and go work in my own business while all the other kids were going to some other business. And then in the evenings, I'd either deliver pizzas or bus tables. And it got to a point where I was looking at my money going, I'm hustling 3 times harder over here for somebody that, is owning a business, and I ain't taking all the cash. And over here, I'm like, this makes more sense. And so just pushed that, and I ain't never looked back, man.
There's this big debate that people have where they say you can't teach entrepreneurship, or you have to be born as an entrepreneur. What's your thoughts about that?
So that goes into talent, what's the difference between talent and skill? Like, can you teach people certain innate properties? Like, you can teach me how to shoot a basketball, but you can't teach me to shoot a basketball like Michael Jordan good. Like, you know what I mean? There's like certain things that come in there. And I don't know, I mean, I believe that somewhat, but I also think that if you go to a deeper level and it just goes into psychology profiles of people, there's, you know, it's a matter of like how you were raised, what was your influences that you were around. I still think that if somebody has that entrepreneurship bug deep down inside of them and they watch an interview like this, you know, this might be the thing that like clicks that on for them, and they're like, oh shit. And you know, the other thing is, I just tell everybody, like, be careful. There's a lot of people tell you can't do shit. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, you can't be an entrepreneur, Eric. You weren't born with it. You know, you can't learn it. It's a special gift. It ain't for you. I don't believe that shit, man. I don't like putting self-limiting beliefs on people, and I don't think people should let other people put them on themselves.
So do you think that everybody has some entrepreneurship inside of them?
I think everybody should try. You know what I mean? Whether you got it, that's the wrong question to ask. It's like, do I have it or not? It's like, should I try or not? That's the question. Yes, you should try it, because it's one of the fastest ways to freedom. And that's why I'm like, right. Try it. If you fail, okay. Because here's the thing. When I quit my jobs, when I quit that gas station job, and quit busting tables and quit delivering pizzas, I'm thinking, if it doesn't work, I can go back. They're going to need somebody to fill that spot again. You know, so like that fear that people get in front of them about, oh my gosh, man, I don't know if I should go try this thing. Why not? You can always go back to a job. Like, it's not a one-way ticket out. Like, they'll let you back in the building. So I feel like, you know, I just feel like there's a lot of people that doubt themselves, and they don't ever give themselves the opportunity to even take a chance at the entrepreneurship. I think everybody should try it. Now, 98% of them are going to fail. But if I told you that you had a key in your pocket and that door over there was the door to freedom, are you just going to sit here with a key in your pocket the rest of your life? Or are you going to like get up and actually go try and see if it works or not?
I'm about to try.
Yeah, man.
When did you actually put a definition on what you are? At what age did you understand, like, I'm an entrepreneur?
You know, I really don't even think that came out of my mouth until probably 2010, 11, like when the internet really started taking off. You know, I graduated high school in 07, so like the internet was a thing, and there were people making money on the internet when I was graduating high school. But, you know, I was supposed to be a chemical engineer. Like, I'm not the prototype, like, I was terrible at school, had a bad upbringing, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm an entrepreneur, I kick ass. Like, that's just not me. Like, my truth is, I was really good. I'm a really smart guy. And so, like, I made good grades in school. I took chemistry 1, 2, and AP chemistry and aced them. And, like, I could have went to college and been a chemical engineer. But for me, I loved doing my own thing. And I liked the fact that I didn't have to wait 4 more years to start doing my own thing. And really, I'm so competitive because I played 5 sports in high school, and like, I love football. I was so happy to watch my Colts play last night. You know, it's one of the things where when you're that driven and you have that much competition in you, and then it's like, oh, all right, sports are gone, and you lose a big chunk of your life, business is what I could put that into. Like, I couldn't go hit people anymore, but I could take that same energy and effort and focus and drive and ambition and put it into my business. And the best thing was, you know, over here you get headaches, over here you make money. And money equals freedom. And so I was like, this is gonna work, man. I believed in myself, man, even when everybody told me that I couldn't do it. And that's so important for people.
Yeah. So you seem really forward thinking and confident right now. Who developed who you are? Did you have some mentors?
Yeah, man. My mom, I mean, growing up, my mom told me, you know, you can do anything you want to do. I mean, she put that big thinking into me and my brother of like, whatever, I mean, you want to be an astronaut, you be an astronaut, right? And like, everybody gets a little bit of that when you're like 5 and you get the fire engine. They're like, you can be a firefighter, little Johnny. But then like, when you're like 11, they're like, all right, yeah, now, fuck that firefighter shit. Like, what are you really going to do in life? Right. You know, they want you to give it up. It's like, my mom was always like, you can do whatever you want. And then my dad's the one, my whole dad's side of the family is the one that gave me that hustle, and that, you know, you had to be willing to work for it. You can't be whatever you want and then just sit on the couch waiting for them to knock on the door and show up. Like, yeah. You got to actually go make it happen.
So I was having this conversation with somebody, and everybody that wants to venture out to be an entrepreneur, they always have an idea, a business concept. I want to help put that to rest, because it's so hard for the average person to be able to distinguish the two. The difference between a good business idea or a profitable business. Because not every business is going to be profitable, but it may be a forward business.
Yep.
So how do you distinguish and figure out, do I have a good business idea, or is it going to be profitable?
Yeah, man.
How would you approach something like that?
That's tough, right? Because I just got them all razzed up, like, go try it. And I'm like, and 98% of you ain't going to make it. And 98% don't make it because of that. So there's two things. Either one, you're not thinking big enough. You're not like, that's why I love the word excellence. Like, if like your excellent life, like that's where you have to start at, man. What is that like peak point? And until you know that, you're gonna be off kilter, because all your decisions that you make have to point to that North Star. That's where most people mess up. But if I'm looking at the business and saying, is this a viable business option or not, you have to remove the emotion, right? Just because you love horses and you want to make buggy whips, nobody's driving buggies anymore. It's going to be a bad idea. But DJ, I love horses. You know, but come on, coach. You know, man, I'm great at making these buggy whips. Understand, bro. But economics and commerce is what drives entrepreneurship. So you have to play by those rules. Like, you can't tell me, man, I'm a great basketball player, I'll tackle everybody on the floor. You're not allowed to do that in the game, right? Well, in business, you can't be a great entrepreneur unless you can get those ideas that are profitable, right? It's one thing to say, this is what I'm passionate about, right? And this is what I want my life to be about. It's another thing to say, I can make it a profitable business. And I really believe that North Star is what can guide you, because how profitable does the business have to be is another question. Can you live on $10,000 a year? If doing what you absolutely love and you got a breadwinner at home and you just need to make like 10, 15 grand a year, dude, you can make that on Etsy selling anything. Like, you got a little cute idea, you can do it. If you're like, I want a private jet, you're gonna have to step it up to another level. It's gonna have to be a big enough business to equate to that goal. Is that making sense? Like, you have to know where you want to go. Like, for me, I want to build the Entrepreneur Institute. Like, that's what I want. I want to make an X-Men school for entrepreneurs, man. And I know it's gonna take a lot of money. I'm gonna have to meet a lot of wealthy people because I'm gonna need donors. Like, those are things in my life that I see. It's not necessarily about making the money in the business. But if a person can't generate revenue at a profit, you just like, you can't play the game. I don't know if I'm making sense on that.
No, you make total sense. Maybe they might not completely understand it, but that makes total sense to me. So when you think about the two, passion and profit, do you have to decide which one leads, or is there always one that leads, in your opinion?
Yeah. So I'll give you my examples. I was like, I don't know what everybody else is doing, but like, my truth is, I want to be Coach Carroll every day. I either want to be on a stage or in front of a camera. Like, I'm most alive there, man. My heart's full of joy. I'm happy. I feel like I'm making a difference in the world. The problem is, that don't pay your bills when you're in your 30s. I know that I'm not going to pop until I'm in my mid-40s. That means I got another 15 years I have to wait. I can still do this stuff, and it's fun, and we're building up one hell of a fan base on the ride up. But I know that's my long-term vision. All right, so in the meantime, I got to go wash buildings. You know what I mean? I got to go sell ad tech services. Like, I have to do something other, and that's where that multiple streams of income comes in. It's not necessarily that you have to give up on your passion. You just might not be able to have your passion right now. And that delayed gratification is like one of them, like, it's the cheat code to the game. Like, if you're okay with that, you're gonna be all right. I think you have to look at profit first. I think profit has to come before passion, because I probably don't want to be Coach Carroll if I can't sit in this interview in a $2,000 suit. See what I'm saying? Like, if I'm over here like, yeah, Eric, let's do the interview, and I show up and I ain't showered in 3 days, and I'm a little bit homeless, and my belly's growling because I didn't have money to eat breakfast this morning, I probably don't want to be too passionate about my passion.
Correct.
So I think profit has to come first, and that's I'll sublet that into another question. Is like when people come to me like, man, I'm broke, I'm jobless, but I got this great idea, I want to start this business. I'm like, shut up, go get a job. Go get you a job, bro. Like, you need to get back on your feet first. Then you can try to do that thing. That's why, you know, I love Gary Vee to death, but when he's like, if you've ever worked for somebody, you're not an entrepreneur. I'm like, come on, bro.
He said, if you've never worked for somebody?
No, if you've ever worked for somebody. Mm-hmm. If you've ever worked for somebody, like you're not through and through, thoroughbred, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro.
I disagree with that.
Absolutely.
Because being employed is where I learned everything. I learned what I did want to be. I learned what I didn't want to be. I'm still learning in my current employment. So that's yes.
Adding that one to the list. You know what I mean? And sometimes learning what not to do is almost as important as learning what to do. You know what I'm saying? When you go over there and you live that, what I call the W-2 lifestyle, when you're living off of a W-2, man, there's very few wealthy individuals that are W-2 earners. Very few. And I said wealthy. I didn't say rich. I didn't say high income. Wealthy. And wealthy means like you can just stop. In my opinion, wealthy means you can just stop and can't nobody touch you. Like, don't matter what happens. Tornado rips through something, whatever. Right. Like your wealth is so big, you're untouchable. There's no emergencies that happen in your life anymore. That's being wealthy. That only happens through multiple streams of income. And while you need that W-2 to get you started, like you can't just stay there because it violates one of those laws of entrepreneurship. It's multiple streams of income, being wealthy.
You can tell a lot of people to go back to work, but so many people in our generation, they lack the discipline and the focus, which is really major. I wanted to go back and help some people understand the difference from expectation versus the outcome.
Okay.
And let me clarify it. So I started a company not too long ago, and I had these grand expectations of what the company would do. I had all of these numbers written down, and I'm like, I'm going to be making this much money, and that really wasn't the outcome. How do you tell somebody to gauge their sights and to be a little bit more modest, or do you not? Do you tell them to think grand and to not really worry about the expectations, or to not create these expectations of what you really want? How do you keep that level head?
Are you saying like you set a goal, it didn't happen? Because is that what an expectation is?
Right.
Is it setting a goal?
You set that goal and you don't attain that goal, so it doesn't really pan out to be exactly what you want it to be.
Yeah. So I've always told myself, I think I read this in one of Brian Tracy's books, that if you hit the goal, it wasn't big enough to begin with. Like, I don't want to hit our goals. You know, when I set an income goal or something like that, I want to follow up a little bit short, because that's what'll push you. If you're not, and I think that comes with it is like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you're like, man, it's gonna be here, and it ended up here, because that means that you're thinking big, and that's what will push you eventually that level. And it's not that you didn't attain it; it's you didn't attain it in the timeline that you set for yourself. That's all it is. The goal is still there. It's still achievable. It's just going to take you a little longer. And so people get so caught up in the expectations of what this is versus like looking at the work you need to do. And that's why like you shouldn't reward the outcome. You should reward the activity. And so don't reward the sell, reward how many calls you made.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? Because if you're like, my goal is $200 a day. $200 a day, I promise you everything will take care of itself. You can be a really shitty sales guy, but if you'll make $200 a day, it'll happen. Because it's the law of big numbers, right? And so, but we don't get taught that in school. Like, they don't ever teach you to think big like that. They teach you like the A is the A, and you get there or you don't get there, and then in 6 weeks that class is over and you're on to the next chapter. No, man, you can have big, humongous goals that take a long time. And that's what I see is a lot of people, if you change your thinking of like, damn, I didn't hit my goal, it's damn, I didn't hit my goal in the timeline that I allotted. Because when you put that on the end of it, you don't beat yourself up about it. And then the other thing is entrepreneurship. Dude, you get to play this forever. You know what I mean? Average time in the league in the NBA is 4 years. Most players are in and out in 4 years. That's like college. You know what I mean? Entrepreneurship, bro, we'll have another one of these when we're in our 80s.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Just on the beach somewhere, maybe on my yacht. right? I'll probably have a yacht by the time
I'm
I'm
down
80.
with that. You know,
But
I'm down.
it's that long-term timeline and just having that patience, man, because that's what makes people give up. Because that's ultimately where that goes. Is I didn't hit my goal. I feel bad about myself. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I'm not the one. I'm gonna quit.
I love what you said about rewarding
The activity,
and not the finish line.
not the outcome.
Not the outcome. So you are rewarding the activity and not the outcome.
Yeah.
That's powerful right there.
Activity over outcome, man. I tell my
Wow.
team that all the time, because you can't people are gonna have slumps. You're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have bad weeks. You're gonna have bad months. You're gonna have bad years. Man, when I lost my gym, that was a bad year altogether.
Right.
Lose $500,000 worth of real estate in a 6-figure company.
Tell me about it.
You know what I mean? Called up, fetal position on the couch, crying like a little bitch. My girl's like, "It's all right. We're gonna get through it." You know what I mean? I just knew you can't give up.
I haven't lost that much. I don't want to.
Oh man,
But
that was a learning
lost.
experience, man. You know, most people pay $500,000 to go to Harvard. I paid $500,000 to learn the hard way. You know what I mean?
Man, that's something that I'm gonna use in my life, because I get so caught up on the finish line,
Yeah.
and if I'm not hitting it quick enough,
Yep.
it bothers me.
Yeah.
I read this quote that said most people underestimate what they can accomplish in a year,
Yeah.
and they underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade.
For sure.
And I always had this vision where I'm gonna get this done in a year, but why not soft tail it and end up to where I want to be even more and maybe even larger
Yeah.
in 10 years?
Yeah.
I love that you said that. So, expectation versus outcome. What's the worst piece of advice you've gotten?
Go to college. Oh man, I probably shouldn't have said that.
Nah,
that's
you
the
should
truth,
have.
man.
I think a lot of kids need to hear that.
You know, the worst piece of advice I've ever got. I mean, that keeps running back through. I didn't listen to the advice, but it was bad. I mean, that was my chemistry teacher, dude. She told me, she said, "You'll never be as successful trying to be an entrepreneur." That may have been the very first time I ever heard that word. Now I just said that. That may have been the very first time anybody ever referred to me as an entrepreneur. She said, "You'll never be as successful trying to be an entrepreneur as if you just went to college and got your chemical engineering degree." Worst piece of advice ever, man. There would have been no Coach Carroll if I listened to her. You know what I'm saying? Like there eventually would have never been an Entrepreneur Institute if I'd have listened to that. And so that's why I tell people one of the founding principles of entrepreneurship is believing in yourself when nobody else does, man. Because it's everybody's like, "Oh, it's cold and lonely at the top." No, bro, it's cold and lonely at the start line. That's where it's cold and lonely. It ain't like when you make it. Trust me, promise, Eric, when I get that jet one of these days, I ain't gonna have no problem filling up seats. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's like, "Nah, bro, I'm good. I visited." No.
Yeah.
But when you're just starting out, I remember I used to be up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't afford to hire a graphic designer. So I taught myself Photoshop off of YouTube, and it took me like 9 hours to design a brochure. Wasn't nobody there with me going, "Hey, dog, I got you. I know graphic design. I'll help you out." No.
See, that's what I see a lot of people doing right now. They get so caught up on thinking that they need the fanciest equipment, and it kind of sets them back from their goals. A real entrepreneur can be available in any position. They can play any position. What did you say to your teacher, or did you say anything?
I don't really remember saying anything to her. Because I just remember her telling me that, and it stuck with me, man. Like, that was like the first chip on my shoulder. Because, you know, like in sports or any of that, that was the best, right? Like, that was the best part, was knowing that somebody's ahead of you. And that was, I think, the first time that I had an introspective look at myself and was like, "You mean I'm my own competition now?" You know what I'm saying? Because she's saying, like, you can't do something. The coaches was, all through sports, coaches never told you, like, you can't do this, you can't do, they encourage you. They're like, try it, man. Go harder, do better, move faster. And for somebody to look you in the eye and be like, you're better off doing this than that. And I know she was coming from a good place in her heart. She probably truly believed, like, because she was fed the bullshit too. And it was like, she believed, like, here's a really, really smart kid that's just going to, like, not go to college and mow grass for a living. And that's what a lot of my friends are like, so what, you're just going to mow grass for a living? I'm like, no, bro, I'm building a company.
Making millions of dollars mowing grass, though.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's just, I hate that. It's negativity. And I'm like, I try to shed that stuff at all times. I don't know, man. That was a very, very pivotal point in my life. Let's
talk about college. When did you decide that you were done?
So I remember sitting in accounting class. Let me back up. Before that semester even started, it was my third semester. I decided to go to a little community college, right? Like, I didn't go off to one of the schools. I didn't want to leave. I had my client base in my small little hometown. And, but I felt like I was letting my mom down because I know she really wanted me to go to college. I would have been the first one in our family to do it. So I was like, I'll go to community college. I did it for her. But going into my third semester, I told my guidance counselor, I was like, hey, I need to take business finance. Like, I got a business. I need to learn about financials and numbers and what the hell to do here. And they said, sorry, DJ, your business finance class is a 300 level class. You can't take that. You need 2 of these prerequisites. And I'm like, what? No. Like, I want to pay you to take this class you're offering. That's like going into Kroger and trying to buy some hot dogs. And like, no, Eric, you can't buy hot dogs unless you buy the mustard and the pack of buns.
And then
you're like, I just want some hot dogs, bro. I'm on that keto shit right now. They're like, nah, bro, you gotta buy mustard and the buns. And so I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll buy the mustards and the buns. So I took accounting 201, which I'm like, I kind of understand. Get this, history of rock and roll. And you know, and then I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? So I'm sitting in this class, listening to this guy go on and on about how terrible the Rolling Stones were and how amazing the Beatles were. And I'm like looking at my watch going, yo, man, I got a house I could go wash and I could make $300, you know, in about the next hour and a half. And I'm listening to this yahoo telling me about the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. Please tell me how this has helped my business. But, you know, it makes you a well-rounded person. Bitch, I'm not trying to be well-rounded. I'm trying to get rich. So, you know, I'm sitting in that accounting class that day, and we're doing debits and credits and debits and credits and debits and credits. I'm like, man, I'm done. This ain't for me. I feel myself dying on the inside.
Yeah.
And I go to leave, and the teacher comes out. She was super nice. I don't remember her name. She says, DJ, you can't drop out. You need to learn this stuff to be successful in business. And I said, no, I need to go sell enough to hire people like you to do this stuff to be successful in business.
You were thinking that, or you said that?
I said that to her.
That's powerful.
And 3 weeks later, I hired her, and she set up our QuickBooks accountings. Swear to God, man.
That's funny.
And I went and washed a house for $350 and paid her $300. I'm like, this is how this game works. Yeah, man.
That's funny right there. I like it.
It's just my truth, man. It is what it is.
So when you were leaving, everybody goes through this. I don't care who you are. We play this game inside of our minds where the mind plays a trick like, am I doing the right thing? Am I headed on the right path? How did you deal with those things? What kind of tricks was your mind playing on you when you were exiting college?
I was to the point where, so I was 20, about to be, I was 20, I was about to be 21 that summer. And I just knew that if I hustled, that like the bills and all that kind of stuff, like it couldn't catch me. Like I just knew I just had to outrun that. And people, this is another thing, a really, really wealthy guy, I don't know, he owns probably 20, 25 hotels. He told me this one time. He said, DJ, I don't care how much money you make a year. I care how much money you make a month. Because the mortgage, the car payment, the insurance, all of that, it's only due once a month. So your yearly income doesn't mean anything. It's how much you make a month. And so I think as I was leaving college, I'm like, man, I can pay my bills. I can figure this out. Like, I just knew that if I spent the time on YouTube learning that I was spending in the history of rock and roll class and figuring out what I wanted to study, I'd be all right. And that was just that belief, man. Got crazy self-belief. And I mean, I had an ego. I was cocky, like, and I think that helped me. I mean, a lot of people, I got picked on for it, and I got in a couple fights because of it. But it's like, I just always had that. I always believed in myself. And like I said, man, my mom gave me that. But I didn't have that fear that I was going to fail, because I knew I could always go back, bro. You know what I mean? I could always go back to busting tables and go back to college and then go be a chemical engineer. Like, it was never a this or that. It was, you know, do you want this or this maybe later? Like, it's always going to be there. And
Right.
so I think that's, like, I just understood that at such an early age. That's why I didn't have the fear that most people have. And I started entrepreneurship early, which I encourage people to do, because when you don't have a family and you don't have responsibilities, you don't have that weight on your shoulder, you're agile, man. You can move a lot faster. You can take those risky chances. Here's the most important: you can lose like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times and still keep rolling. And I don't think a lot of people believe in themselves enough to go out there and try to live their dreams. And that kills me on the inside, bro, if I'm being honest.
How did you discover that belief in yourself?
I mean, truthfully, I wanted to prove my teacher wrong. I wanted to prove, you know, the cute girls in high school that were like, so what, you're just going to mow grass for the rest of your life? Mm-hmm. Just those people that, because of my choice, they now thought less of me. Mm. And that was a chip on my shoulder, because, like, I just wasn't raised like that. My mom always believed in me, and, you know, my dad, and they were very supportive of my entrepreneurship. Actually, my mom and my dad both work for me now.
That's awesome.
And so it's like, I think it was that chip on the shoulder that I wanted to prove them all wrong. And I knew it. I knew that I was going to. How long it would take, I didn't know that. But I knew that I wasn't going to give up.
Now what carries you, or do you still have that chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, I still got that chip on my shoulder, but now it's like, I don't hear them anymore, because, like, they can look around and be like, we were wrong. Yeah. He did all right. He's not mowing grass anymore. Like, I think now the Entrepreneur Institute and doing these videos, like, when I have somebody DM me, dude, and say, yo, man, I watched your video and it changed my life.
That's what it's all about.
As long as I ain't hungry and I got a roof over my head, bro, like, and that, it's game over. Why do you think Tony Robbins still does what he does? That dude's got way more money than he could ever use.
Too much.
But he loves going out in that audience and making somebody stand up and helping them have a breakthrough and changing their fucking life. Mm-hmm. Because there's no greater feeling than being of service to someone. And I just love that my part of being of service to someone helps them make more money, which means I help them get closer to freedom. And that's all I could ever want to do, man. That's what drives me now.
That's powerful. Sounds like you're speaking my story now.
Yeah, man. You get it? Absolutely.
Absolutely, I get it. Let's talk about how, I don't want to be too brutal with this, but so many people and their families, they push college. They're like, you need to go to college, get you this degree,
yep,
get you a 9-to-5, get you some good benefits,
yep,
work for 80 years, and retire on the beach. I know it's going to be hard to walk with all your retirement money, but you're going to be able to afford the best nursing home.
Yeah, man. The best geriatric care around.
Oh, man. Is that for everybody? And I think college is overrated. What's your thoughts about it?
It's overrated. There's 2 times that I look at it and I'm like, all right. So doctors, engineers, attorneys, there's certain things where that's the rules of your game. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, just like in entrepreneurship, you got to make a profit. And if you want to be a doctor, like, you've got to go through that long, grueling cycle of schooling, or you can't do that. to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to have a business degree. See what I'm saying? Like, that's not part of the game. But to be a doctor, to be an engineer, to be an attorney, there's certain things when you have to do it. The other side of it is if you're going somewhere for the law of association, which means you're getting closer to power and wealth. That's the one regret that I have, is that I didn't go find some type of Ivy League school and go make buddies that not necessarily I could have done business with their buddies, but I could have done business with the buddies' dads. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I had 20 buddies from college in my pocket right now, and their dads were all entrepreneurs or their dads were all big money guys, those are opportunities. That would have opened up some more doors for me. So I see that. But for the 6-year student getting your communications degree so you can like go work at the radio station and sell advertisement, like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You just put yourself 60 grand in a hole right out the gate for nothing. And that's why I just feel like it's a money game. And if it wasn't a money game, and if they was really about it, now you see like, oh, online, they're all pushing online, because with the internet, they can reach more people. People can pay them for online courses. That's why we do online courses. Like, I can reach the masses now. I just think the majority of jobs in this world, you don't need a college degree for. I know I don't. I'm like, I don't care. I'll tell you, man, we hired an MBA. I hired a guy with an MBA. I hired him to be our VP of sales. He lasted 1 day, bro, because I put him on the phone. He was like, well, I'm not really used to this. I'm more management. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care how many people you've managed. If you can't walk the walk, I don't want you leading the army. See what I'm saying? Like, right. If you ain't gonna hop in a tank and ride it to the front line, you're not my general.
Exactly.
And so he was like 2-3 hours on the phone. He's like, I just don't think this is gonna work out. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It ain't gonna work out.
So that's a good point right there when you're building a company, to always choose experience over some degrees.
Yeah, because a degree doesn't necessarily mean experience. Just because you have some letters behind your name, that don't tell me anything about your work ethic. That don't tell me anything about your skill level. All that tells me is that you had the discipline to show up to class, do the work, and get the grade. I don't know. You know what I mean? Kids are graduating with social media degrees right now and don't know how to run ads.
Is there a social media?
There's a social media degree right here at UL. I know the professor.
Know
yeah. She's a great lady, but it's like, and it's not even, sometimes not even on the professors. It's like, I go like, who's writing the curriculum? How y'all not teaching these kids ads manager and how to run Facebook ads and Instagram ads? You're teaching them how to make posts.
Wow.
That's not hard. So it's like you're paying premium money and you're getting half the value for it. That's my problem.
Let's say that it was a kid right here.
I'll probably never be allowed to speak at another college again after this interview, but
I still think that they need they need to hear it.
I'm a college dropout, and I've spoken at some universities before, and it's always kind of a funny feeling walking in there going, I dropped out, but here I am.
Kanye West.
That's right.
Wanye Kest. So let's say you had a kid sitting right here.
Yep.
And he's trying to figure out whether he should go to college or whether he should take the entrepreneur route. How would you help him wrap his head around making that choice?
Get a job, try to do entrepreneurship. If you haven't figured it out by 2021, take your ass to school, go get you a job. Because you will get a higher paying job with a college degree. But like, I look at a guy like my brother, he's got a finance degree from UK and he's doing mortgages. And he could have done that without his degree. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's a lot more disciplined than I am, like when it comes to the work. Personally, I think that's more his personality style anyway. But I mean, we own the ad tech company together. He does a lot of the back end stuff. I'm helping him get his multiple streams of income going. I feel like you've got to figure out, again, goes back to that North Star. What do you want to do? Because that ultimately dictates your path that you're going to be on. I'll tell you about a girl in Indianapolis, Lacey. She was working at a call center. She hit me up. She's like, yo, I'm working third shift at this call center and I'm selling this stuff on Etsy and I really think I want to make it like my business. And I was like, okay, cool. And she's like, I don't want to be rich. I don't need everything. I just want freedom. I don't want to work third shift at a call center anymore. That was her goal. I'm like, cool. Here you go. Helped her out. She's like, probably 18 months later, she's hitting me up. She's like, hey, I left the call center. I'm full-time with my Etsy business now. You know, her and her husband built a little workshop out back. And like, that's what she does. And she's happy. That's what's important, man. Like, if you're not happy with what you're doing, you're just not gonna be able to enjoy life.
I think that that's a big thing that our generation is learning right now, is even understanding happiness. If you notice so much that you see online, because we dealt with so much oppression, and you get, if you rewind back when there was just completely television, what you saw on TV was status. That was what life was about. That was what you were attaining to be. So it left a lot of people depressed, not knowing that girl that you see behind the TV screen, she just put 5 pounds of makeup on. That guy that you see right there, he just added 5 inches to his heels so that he could look taller.
Yeah.
And now people are trying to understand happiness versus that image that's kept up.
Yeah.
That I've seen a lot of younger guys right now. They're still battling it. Not only guys, but girls still battling, trying to figure out exactly what that happiness is. So that's a big subject in itself.
Amen.
Trying to navigate through that. What is happiness to you?
Building that institute, man. And I've got my goals that I read every morning in my phone. I read these like goal type affirmations that I wrote for myself, and one of them says, be happy today. Find a way, but be happy today. Maybe it's just being happy to be alive. If that's it, you know what I mean? Like, that's the first thing you should be happy for every morning when your eyes open up. Like, it didn't happen last night.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we don't know.
Right.
That's how fickle life is. And I think you have to get anchored to that first. People live in the clouds, man. They got to get some roots underneath of them first before you get your head all up in the clouds. And to me, helping others is what I find joy in. And I think it changes throughout your life. I think especially like men or boys, that 16 to 24-year-old stage of your life is very, very challenging. That's when you're like trying to figure out who you are, and who you are is dependent on what you think your 5 best friends think's okay. And that cute girl that you see at school, you what she thinks is good. You know what I mean? People are always trying to adjust to other people, and really happiness has to come inside. Because like, you can't make anybody else happy if you're not happy. So like, you got to get that right on your inside. Like, you know what I mean? How you dress, how you carry yourself. You just need to be all right looking in the mirror first, and then just live it, man. Like, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
I think people are so worried about, they're self-conscious about what other people are thinking about them and how they're judging them and stuff like that, and trying to live out that fallacy, like you said, they see on social media, right? The Instagram models and all that kind of shit. When really, you can do that. Like, I've never been one to be like, don't have fun, you know, hate your life for 20 years. And like, I've had fun the whole way, man. I've had the boats, the airplanes, the motorcycles. We've done VIPs at the club. Like, you can still do all that. That's what I'm saying. A lot of life wants to tell you it's this or this. Why would I choose when I can have both?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just people have to figure out how to be okay with who they see in the mirror. And a lot of people, I'd say this is, you all probably think I'm crazy after I tell you this. I try to do that a couple times a year. Like, I'll have like a serious, like 4 or 5 minute conversation with myself in the mirror. Like, looking in my own eyes in the mirror, talking to this body, and it connects you, man. And most people don't do that. You know what I mean? They're like, that's weird. He talks to himself in the mirror.
Nah, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah,
my mom used to say something funny. She said, it's okay to talk to yourself just as long as you don't answer your own questions. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's the only way I can talk to myself.
Yeah, you just got to do it in private, or they'll come carry you away one day. Can't go doing it walking down the street.
Very much true. I love what you said about happiness and, you know, having that conversation with yourself. That's something that I'm learning, because for myself, I grew up not having the proper role models. And I had to look at myself and kind of compare myself to other people.
Yeah, man.
And when you do that, that becomes depressing. And then you end up measuring yourself to somebody else and you're not sure of where you want to be.
Or you run into the wrong role model.
Yes.
And then start mimicking them.
Yeah. Because I wanted to be something more than what I am now, on the negative side of it. And now that's reversed. I mean, it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, man.
You seem like you grew up with some good parents.
I did, man. I was lucky.
That's really key to a big foundation. So there's a lot of kids out there that don't have that parenting resource.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that if I had it or they had it, they would probably be where you are or maybe a little bit further in life.
Absolutely.
Is there something that you can do for those kids that are in that position? How do you pull those kids out?
That's I think okay, let's just group them this way. Let's say the at-risk youth, right? That whatever statistics you want to go find that says these are at-risk youth. The fatherless home, I think, is the number one challenge that they've got to face. It's because if you don't have a male role model in the home, who do you look for, right? And then, like, if I didn't have my dad and I had to look to my cousins in Indianapolis, dude, they were slinging dope. You know what I mean? I didn't know when I had my moped, my cousin Bogey was like, hey, man, I sold my buddy this PlayStation game. Why don't you run it over here for him? And so, like, I was taking PlayStation games, house to house. Didn't know what was inside of it. It wasn't a PlayStation game. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's how close I got to the fire of, like, whoa. You know, once I got older and realized what was going on, I mean, Bogey, he eventually, I mean, he was in a buddy's house and gangbangers kicked in the door, shot him with a shotgun, closed casket. Like, that close to that bad lifestyle, my dad, like, kept me straight. It was always one of those things where, like, you have to keep a clean nose. You got to earn money legit. You've got to be able to look at the way the world works and not get caught up in the illegal stuff. And I feel like I was that close, Eric, honestly. If I didn't have him, I don't know, maybe I was there with my cousin when those guys came in that house that day. That's scary to me.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do these videos. You know, maybe I'm a role model for those guys that they're watching right now. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's cool. I can give back and show them that there's a different way. Because I always make the joke that the only difference was I chose to cut grass and not sell grass, right? Like that little transition is what changed, I think, Coach Carroll and put me on the right path.
Yeah, I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, man.
Man, my role models were Dookie.
Yeah.
Terrible. And if I could have some type of program to pull some of those youth out, that would be major. I got a couple of my nephews right now, and they're probably watching. But I need them to step their game up, and I hope that they pay attention to things like this.
Yeah, man.
We gotta keep working, because that's actually where my happiness is. Like you said, is being able to cater to them and pull them out of their situation. What is the best piece of advice you've gotten?
I mean, I think it came from my mom in that form of, like, that's where that saying comes, believe in yourself when nobody else does. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of came up with that, but she instilled that in me, and, like, years and years and years of raising me. Because, man, money, materialistic things, your life, all of that, if you don't, like, believe in yourself, and that's where you go, that's the place you have to go to find that happiness inside, that's like square number one. Unfortunately, man, there's a lot of people that never find that. They never get there. They never get to that place of happiness. They live their entire lives with no purpose, and they die. And, like, that's just a sad part of life, but it's a fact. I feel like if more people would believe in themselves, they do great things. Like, I truly believe we all have, like, a chain of greatness DNA inside of us. Like, it's in there, deep down inside. You just got to unlock it.
So give somebody the formula, your formula of how you believe in yourself.
It's time alone, isolation, meditation, figuring out who you are, and like mastering this mind. Because the problem is, like, when you start unlocking more power of your mind and you start doing mental manifestation and things like that, like Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich, when you start unlocking that, it causes different levels of like, whoa, you got more power, so now you got to figure out how to harness it. For me, it starts with knowing your truth, believing in yourself to the point it's like, I want to do something and I'm not going to stop and no one's going to stop me. Like, that's powerful. When you're like, I'm not going to stop. I'll never give up to get this, and no one is ever going to stop me. If you have something like that, you know, a lot of people, you ask them that, like, hey man, what's the one thing that you're working on right now? Well, I'll ask them, what's the one thing you're working on right now that you say you're never going to stop and no one's ever going to stop you? And if you don't have that, like, you don't need to do anything this upcoming weekend but sit in a room by yourself with a pad of paper and just think and write. Nobody thinks anymore, bro. They're just so reactive. Like, I'm just going to get up and do this and do that and play these video games and hang with these people and go here and do my job. Like, no one ever sits down for 3 hours and just thinks.
I'm so glad you said that. Just sit down and think.
Just sit down and think, bro.
My 7-year-old, he always has to be doing something. So I just started these nature walks that we do, where we'll go out, just look around, process our thoughts, even if we just walk around the neighborhood, because I'm trying to separate him from all of this technology.
Yeah, man.
Because I agree with you, that's where that creative idea comes from.
That's creativity.
When you spend some time alone.
Absolutely.
And you can perfect that idea. Nobody thinks.
Nobody thinks,
wow.
man. That's the thing, is like, I like recommending Think and Grow Rich, but everybody just wants to grow rich and not do the thinking. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bruh, I tell people this all the time too, is like with entrepreneurship, I can run through a ton of business scenarios and a ton of ideas in my mind, and it costs me zero. Like, cool, you got an idea and then you just stopped.
Right.
Well, cool, you had an idea, think through the process. Think through what it's gonna take and what's gonna be some obstacles.
Gotcha. I like it. What's your definition, your own definition of an entrepreneur?
I think that an entrepreneur is a person that can find an opportunity, hustle, and make a profit. That's it. How big you want to be, how small you know, Michael Jordan's a basketball player. The kids playing Little League are a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? People get so hard on themselves about that. Now, successful entrepreneur, right? Depends on what your definition of success is. To me, you're finding success when you're in the process. Success is found in the process. It's not the goal. You're not like, oh, that's success. Because you ain't ever gonna get there. Nobody ever gets there. If you ever get there, that means you're done growing. And that's the whole point of the game. Grow, become more than you are. So for me, like, an entrepreneur has to be able to find those opportunities. Whatever that opportunity is, it don't matter. Sometimes they're not legal opportunities, right? There's a lot of guys in the hood that's entrepreneurs, but like, they're probably not gonna turn out too well.
We call those entrepreneurs. We're gonna leave that out.
But it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you've got to find an opportunity. You've got to be able to hustle, which means you do something. There's something in the process. Make a profit.
5 qualities to develop an entrepreneur. Or better said, 5 qualities that an entrepreneur should have.
First one popped in my head was patience.
Ooh, that's number 1.
That's number 1.
That's always.
That's why you'll quit. You didn't quit because you didn't get the thing. You quit because the thing didn't show up on time. Ambition, number 2, without a doubt. Vision, number 3. Focus, number 4.
One of my favorites.
Hustle.
One of the things, I'm going to be a little selfish. I'm going to ask you a question that I want to know for myself.
Yeah, man.
Because it's something that I've been battling. And while building a company, you have to put the right people in place. And I always want to have my hands involved, and nobody can do it better than me, or I can get it done. And I've learned that actually cost me from being able to grow the business. How do you delegate responsibility?
Oh. So I'm gonna blow some minds on this one. So I literally have just come to this realization probably in the past 12 months. And you gotta realize, like, I'm 31 now. I started my business my senior year of high school, which was 07. So I'm over a decade, which I love. That's my big advantage, honestly, Eric, because, like, I'm 30 and I already got a decade under my belt. And I'm just getting started, bro.
Just a puppy, man.
Like, I ain't even to the start line. I'm still in the back warming up. They ain't even playing my music to come out yet.
I love it.
For me, the delegation, most people miss that because they bring over W-2 minded philosophies into entrepreneurship. So when we were talking about the formula earlier, and I said find the opportunity, hustle, make a profit. A lot of people confuse that hustle with work. 18 hours a day, bro. Nobody works harder than me, bro. Like, shut up. No, that ain't the goal. I'm trying to do an interview. That's my hustle. Create opportunities for other people so they got their hustle, and we all make money. I had a really, really wealthy guy tell me one time, DJ, if I'm working, I'm not doing my job right.
If I'm working, I'm not doing my job right.
Because he's like, it's not his job to go in and pull the levers and turn the knobs and push the buttons. His job is to think. That's what he gets paid for, because he can think better than anyone else on the team. They can't come up with the idea. They don't have the vision. You know what I mean? You got to cast that vision, delegate the task. That's your job. Cast the vision, delegate the task. Cast the vision, delegate the task. Over and over and over and over. I literally had me and my assistant meet up here once a week, and I told her, I was like, next week, I'm not doing anything. We're gonna see how crazy we can get with this delegation shit. Can I just send you everything, and either you do it or you send it to somebody else on the team? Like DJ's done.
Right.
It's great, and it works. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. I read this book. You might have read it. I read the E-Myth.
Yeah.
Have you read the
Michael
E-Myth?
Gerber, absolutely. Oh, yeah,
man. Of course you read it.
Absolutely.
And once I read the E-Myth, I was like, game over.
Yeah.
When they broke down the
Working on it, not in it.
Yeah, the lady making cookies or bacon, and I was like, what? You mean to tell me this whole time?
Here's why most people don't. Most people never get to that point because they need the money, right? Well, DJ, I can't pay the lady $18 an hour to do my meal prep or clean my house. That's crazy. I'm just gonna spend my 2 hours a day doing it myself. What's the value of your time? Right? Well, it's hard to see that when you're like, yeah, I understand, bro, but I got $7 in the bank. That's the value of my time. That's $7 sitting in the bank. So that's why, like, you can't make, in entrepreneurship, you can't make these quantum leaps. The lottery tickets, right, like the lotto system, we call that the poor person tax, because that's like who plays the lottery, and like that's how they put more tax dollars in the system.
Right.
The lottery system in entrepreneurship is getting funded, like those VC funded. That's just not real entrepreneurship. Like, that's not overinflated evaluations and all that kind of stuff. But people look at that kind of thing and like, oh, I can just make that quantum leap. No, man, it takes time. That patience is important. You have to work on that and delegate those tasks out so that you can get back to the vision side. Do more thinking. Like, that's why I delegate that stuff out. I was like, so I can think to myself more. And I can run through more scenarios. Nope, that won't work, that won't work. I'd rather find 100 ways it won't work in my mind than spend my entire life figuring out 100 ways it won't work in real life. Because I can do it in my mind in an hour, and it takes me 7 decades to do it in real life.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot less resources in your head. Run through scenarios.
Finding a solid employee or getting the right people on your boat.
Yeah.
That's really challenging though. So tell me I'm not the only one. How many employees do you normally go through to find the right one? Like you got somebody that's like, okay, I decided to go this way now. Or, hey, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
How many employees do you go through?
So, funny story, at the peak of my lawn care business, right? So that was Easy Pro. We grew it, and I realized it wasn't profitable, so I sold it off, and we went into the exterior cleaning. At the peak, I went through over 300 people in 3 seasons. Damn near 100 people a year. It was actually more in that last year, that peak year. And that's when I was like, something's not right here. And I basically was just hiring warm bodies. Hey man, can you hold a weed eater? Yeah, cool. Get in the truck. Like, you know what I mean? We got a job to do. The customer expects us today. Versus slowing down and finding people that have the same values as I do. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons, like that blue collar business model is so hard to do with employees, because a lot of those guys aren't awake. Lights are on, but ain't nobody home. They don't think for themselves. They come do their job for 8 hours. They grab a 6-pack on the way home, get home, eat a little dinner, watch a little TV, go to bed. Same thing the next day. And it's hard if you're alive and you got goals, ambition, and dreams, you want to help people. It's hard to be around those people. I had to tell myself, and I'm just being raw with this right now, is like I had to tell myself that the law of association is real. And I'm associating myself with 17 knuckleheads every day now. Because I didn't have time to go be around guys that got $100 million companies. Because I was in a truck working, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, this ain't working, bro. This ain't going to happen. I think if you find employees, you have to figure out who are the people that have the same values as you. You can train a skill. You know what I mean? You can train, because here's what would have happened, Eric. If I'd have found 5 or 6 guys that had my values, like we're going places, I'd have figured out I should have got rid of lawn care a long time ago. You know what I mean? It didn't mesh with my North Star, which would have been their North Star. Like everybody on my team, my power washing company, my ad tech company, it don't matter. Everybody knows Coach Carroll is going to build the Entrepreneur Institute. And that's the North Star for, like, that's what leads the company. And everybody's on board with that. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more synergy. I didn't have that when we were rolling over 100 people a year. It's tough, man. It's tough to get people, train them, retain them, pay them. Like, that's what I'm saying. But you know what? It's tough to try to be LeBron James, too. It's tough selling crack on the corner. Like,
no, that's easy.
All of life is hard. You got to pick your hard.
Yeah. One of my biggest problems is anybody that I have on my team, I encourage them to be entrepreneurs in their own way. So I have a hard time with making people employees because I want people to approach me with an entrepreneur mind state. Like, okay, this is what I can do. This is where I can bring value. Yeah. That's one of my biggest things is, do you train all of your employees to be employees, or do you train them with the encouragement to grow, to be more than just an employee?
So it's not, we don't look at it as like entrepreneurship minded. I'm the entrepreneur in the group, right? They're ownership minded. So they don't have to go, I don't need them to find the opportunity, hustle, and make the profit. I need them to do one thing, that's have ownership. And having ownership means that you think critically, right? Mm-hmm. Remember those exercises they used to give us in school where it was like a problem and then you had to write out a paragraph solving it? That critical thinking, that was my favorite thing, man. Mm-hmm. I suck at spelling and writing, so it was I always got bad grades, but I loved problem solving, figuring that out. And so it's like, don't call my phone asking for an answer. Call my phone with a solution to get approval. It's different when you're going to bring your boss and I mean, this works. This ain't just entrepreneur. This is anybody. Everybody should have an ownership mentality, which means that you keep your space looking nice. You care about your opinion, your appearance. Ownership, right? Having pride. Mm-hmm. My team knows that I need critical thinkers. Coach Carroll makes enough problems for himself. Like, I don't need their problems too. I need them to critically think and then come to me and I'll put a little salt on it and like, all right, you was close. I'll get you the rest of the way. Boom, now we're good.
Right.
That's what I teach my team. I don't want them to necessarily be entrepreneurs, but I need them to have an ownership mentality because that's just a good principle to carry about yourself no matter what you do in life.
I like that. I'm gonna definitely use that one.
Yeah, man.
3 major keys to build a successful business.
Start with profit. If it's not profitable, you're not gonna scale it. I mean, I grew the lawn care division to over $3 million in revenue, and was like, I'm making peanuts, bro. I'm doing a shit ton of work, but I'm making peanuts. It wasn't profitable. So profit's that's gotta be number one. I think positivity is number 2. Can you imagine putting your kid to bed and being like, all right, little Billy, well, Daddy got laid off today, and we're 2 months behind on rent, but we think everything's gonna be all right. Sleep tight. But you know how many business owners come in and fly off the handle and like don't have their own emotions in check?
I deal with it every day.
Absolutely you do, and most people in America do. That's why it's like that yelling boss. Oh my God, it's just negativity, right? You gotta stay positive, man. So profit, positivity, and then growth, man. You gotta grow. I don't care how fast you grow, but you gotta grow a little bit every year. Like, it's a stream. Money's flowing. Money's always moving around. Like, it doesn't sit still. You know, stagnant money smells funny. Like, it's money's flowing around, man. You gotta be moving. You gotta be growing at some point somewhere. That's why I tell people a lot of times, like with Robert Kiyosaki and his cash flow quadrants, right? Like you've got the employee, you've got the self-employed, the business owner, and the investor. A lot of people skip right over going from an employee to self-employed and just want to go employee to business owner. Like, there's nothing wrong with being self-employed. You know, Easy Pro, we're going to roll out a certification program that guys can get in and be self-employed in the power washing business. You can make 6 figures your first year, bro.
Nice.
Like, go from a $30,000 a year opportunity that you hate to something over here working for yourself 7 months out of the year, taking all winter off, vacation, like that freedom. Mm-hmm. That's why I say we have to disconnect ourselves from that like 1930 to 1950 industrial era, like work is the reward. Like, work gets, oh man, it's kind of like computer programming. Minimum input, maximum output. What's the least I can do to make the most? Most people are like, well, that's just lazy. It's like, no, that's called working smart, not hard. My dad used to tell me that all the time, man. He's like, use your brains, not your back. That's what he told us growing up, and I mean, it's rang true.
What's success to you?
Playing the game. That's it, man. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto. You don't get on there to do a mission. You just get on there to play the game. It's fun, right? Mm-hmm. It's business for me. Like, it's not easy. It's not fun every day. I have my ups, my downs. Like I was talking about, you know, when I lost my fitness center and made a really bad mistake and got taken advantage of by another entrepreneur. That kind of opened my eyes up. It was like, yeah, you just got rocked by that linebacker that you didn't see coming. It's like, Coach, why do you hit me so hard? It's like, you're playing football, bitch. Get back in the game. Like, you know what I mean? To me, that was like a wake-up call to where some of these, like, rosy, good, touchy-feely stuff that they give you in school, if you come play the game of entrepreneurship, you're going to run into people that don't play by those rules. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for unsuspecting people to take advantage of. Like, they're out there. That's just part of it. But playing that game is fun, man. Now I'm like looking for those guys and going, yeah, you think you got me. You know what I mean? Like, looking and seeing, and just that to me is success. In my essence, like, I get to do what I love, man. It fortifies the reason I dropped out of college. You know what I mean? It fortifies, like, why I didn't take on any scholarships. It fortifies all, like, I did the right thing, and I'm pushing forward, and I'll get there. Like, there's no doubt in the back of my mind that I'm not going to build an entrepreneur institute, man. Like, I joke, we look over the balcony and look at this Louisville Public Library down there all the time, and I'm like, Tori, that's it. I'm just going to build one of those. Look at that big building, nice fancy stone. I'm visualizing it, man. Like, I'll get there. Yeah. Just playing the game, man. I feel successful doing that.
That's powerful. See, when I was growing up, I played sports here and there, but I was more caught up with making money, and
Yeah, man.
I was in the streets. And I remember coming to watch some of the athletes on the court. I mean, they were killing it. Our high school they were back-to-back state champions.
Wow.
Basketball, football.
Dang.
I went to Canton McKinley, which is right beside the NFL Hall of Fame.
Okay.
So we breed tip-top athletes. And I remember they were balling on the court, and I was trying to ball in the street. So in my mind, I was an athlete myself.
Yeah.
So just like you said, it's just the idea of being able to compete. But I lost that not too long ago. I just brought myself back, and I was like, because I was so focused on the money, so focused on the goal, and then I forgot that I just actually love competing. And that's something that's very important if people could wrap their minds around understanding that you just got to fall in love with the day-to-day. Like you said.
Yeah, man.
Not you said celebrating
The activity, not the outcome.
the outcome.
Yeah, man.
With everything that's going on, what are some things that you do to get a hold of your day? Because there's so many things pulling at your attention.
Yeah.
How do you manage your day?
So my phone stays on silent, number one. Like, all my friends, they're like, you don't ever answer your damn phone, bro. I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, that's intentional. Being conscious of that. Like, I deal with this thing when I want to deal with it. Like, I've just have that. I have that barrier. That was a very, very tough barrier to set. My voicemail on my work phone says that I check my voicemail once a week. So send me a text message if it's emergent. And I had a lady a couple weeks ago, DJ, I was just gonna let you know, I got your voicemail and I don't know that your customers would really appreciate that. Like my dad's a little older, he's not gonna text you. Like, I don't know, that was just a little put offish about you. You know what I told her? I said, well, I do it for efficiency so I can continue to serve great clients like you.
Well said.
She didn't know what to say. She's like, oh, okay.
That's
Boundaries, bro. And that's just in business. That's in relationships too.
Yeah.
Like me and Tori have a really good relationship to where like I'll tell her like I need to get away. I'm gone. I'm gonna just leave for 4 days, turn my phone off, and like I just go out and like I'll either get like a little hotel and stay in it and go fast and just get out in my head, or just space. I feel like people need people so much, man. It goes back to that they're not okay with sitting by themselves. And so therefore they don't think that they even need boundaries. And so when you don't put up those boundaries, how can you expect somebody to respect them? They're not there in the first place. So I mean, like, I don't ever answer my phone, man. And my team knows we have a categorization system: emergent, urgent, and non-urgent. Emergent means DJ needs to deal with this within the next 24 hours. Urgent means DJ needs to deal with this within the next 48 hours. And non-urgent, they set a specific deadline with it. DJ needs to deal with this, and here's the deadline. That'll be a huge time saver and everybody can use this. When somebody needs something from you, when they're like, hey, Eric, I need you to do da-da-da-da-da. Say, hey, man, cool, no problem. I'll take a look at it. I might be able to help you out. What's the absolute last day I can get this back to you? What's the deadline that you need this by? Like if Eric doesn't turn this in, like the world stops spinning. What's that day? A lot of times I'm like, bro, like just get it to me by the end of the year. And you're like, oh, well, shit, I was about to stop exactly what I'm doing and go start working on that.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, like, where did the time go? You can't manage time. You can only maximize it.
I like that.
You write that one down.
I like that. Either that or we're going to rewind it.
There you go.
It'll be a clip. I had a buddy of mine, he flaked out on me on social media because I have my set posts that I post and respond to my comments at a certain time. And then he jumps up under one of my comments and he's like, bro, I am trying to understand why I cannot reach you on the phone. I have called you 3 or 4 times. And I was like, look, man, I responded to his comment because I'm responding to comments at the time. So I was like, look, if you don't text me and tell me why you're calling or leave me a voicemail, I don't return your call, because I noticed that most problems can fix themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I even have customers call me and then they're blowing me up. So I call them back 10 minutes later and I'm like, it must be an emergency. I call them back and they're like, oh, I figured it out. Or something so small. So what I do is I let a lot of it filter out by itself. But if you don't leave me a voicemail like you said, or text me, you won't get a response.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, I end up spending my whole day on the phone.
Whole day, man. Talking about shit that don't even matter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? My team's not allowed to leave me voicemails. Why you gonna leave me a voicemail for? I'm gonna talk to you within the next day or two. Like,
why
you
is
can
that?
you can tell me now, like, cause I don't want to waste my 3 minutes listening to the shit that when I call you, you're gonna spend another 3 minutes telling me exactly what you just told me on the voicemail.
Just write it down.
Yeah, bro, just tell me. You're like, I'm gonna call you back. Shoot me a text message. Say, hey, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. It's emergent. We got a saying that emergent is broke or bleeding. If something's broken or something's bleeding, that's emergent. The rest of it can probably wait until the next 24-hour cycle. Like, I don't need to deal with it today. So, like, when I get up in the mornings, like, I'm time blocked, my schedule, I keep a very tight schedule. And I'm always, like, trying to condense it more and more and more. We do 30-minute time blocks now, like, that's a unit at a time. I'm trying to get to the point where 15 minutes is a unit at a time.
Huh.
To where it's like, all right, cool, I'll do what you need me to do. How many units of my time do you need? Well, I need a half an hour. That's 2 units a time. You look at a half an hour a little differently when you call it 2 units a time instead of 1 unit at a time.
Wow.
Or a half a unit of time if you're thinking of an hour. So you're condensing. Learn that from Neal. And so it's like you're condensing. Because you only have 24 hours, man.
So do you explain that to them and say, hey, 15 minutes is a unit?
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, you're fucking crazy. My team gets it because they're on board and they get it.
Right.
But like most people are like, you're doing too much, man. Why are you micromanaging yourself and going with the flow? It's like, because I want to go with the flow on the island for 2 weeks because I did this throughout the year. See what I'm saying? Because if you're like that, very, very allocated with your time, you're cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. When you go on vacation, you can actually have a vacation. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why, like I said, unplug for 4 days and not talk to anybody. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, you can't. Before people judge, they should look at their own life and say, am I trying to get the same results the person I'm about to judge is trying to get? Do I have more results than said person? And have I questioned the way I've been doing it?
They'll never do that.
Never. That makes too much sense.
You're talking about the average person. They'll never do that. I like that. I'm probably going to use that, the 15 minutes as a unit. Yeah. But it'll probably upset some people.
You're absolutely going to upset some people, man. Like, it's just, but again, that's that self-belief. If you're worried about what other people are going to think about you, you're doomed from the beginning, right? I don't know, man. I feel like you have to live a different way if you want to live a different way. Huh? Let that one sink in.
That's so obvious, but unobvious.
Oh, what's Brendan Burchard says? Common sense isn't common practice.
Yeah, very true.
What's your goal, man? What's your North Star?
Man, my North Star is big, like yours. So you want to build an entrepreneur school? I want to empower all of the people that are powerless. And whether that be financially, whether that be mentally, spiritually, whatever that power is for them, I want to help them discover it. Because I was powerless. A part of me still feels powerless. So I want them to be able to discover their power through me. So when I say that, that's so grand. Writing books. Yeah. I want to build schools. I want to teach people how to change their community. Like all of the homes in the West End that I own, if you ride past those homes, they got these big fancy cars out in front, big rims, and their gutters hanging off. The priorities.
Yeah, man.
Helping them understand family, community, I got a lot, man. I'm like Martin Luther King, Obama, Malcolm X. I mean, all of that. It's just so much. So I can't really say what it is all in one. I just know that it's going to take for me to have a really big team.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people to be on the same page.
I like that, man.
I got a question for you. At the end of life, and when everything is said and done, it's two questions in one.
Okay.
What will the scoreboard read?
Okay.
And what will DJ be known for?
So I have 3 words that I try to guide myself by: rich, conscious, world changer. So I hope that's what I'm known for.
RCW.
Yeah, I like that. I never looked at it that way. You know, when I think of people like Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, these titans, right? These people that just was bigger than life, man, and they'll be talked about forever. That's the question I often ask myself, because I've heard you die 2 times. One when the body stops working. The second time is when the last person speaks your name. And that's what I think about that, man. I'm like, how long am I going to last? 100 years? 200 years? 300 years? 97 years? Like, so I try to, that's where that Entrepreneur Institute came from, was like, that's something that I could build to help people, but it's super selfish of me, because I'm like, build me a statue out front, bro. Ain't nobody moving me. Dirt's paid for, money left, it's paid for. I ain't ever got to worry about anybody coming and tearing it down. Like, lives longer than this body, because that's still me. That's still Coach Carroll living through that place. So that's what I hope that's what I hope I'm remembered for. The scoreboard, realistically, because, you know, I say think big, but there's certain things in life, like, you got to realize, like, some people just don't make it to, right? Because of where you started at. $1 billion in assets. I don't think, because of the way the game's played now and the way the world works, I don't think I could ever have $1 billion net worth, but I think I could amass $1 billion in assets. And so for me, that's what I hope the scoreboard reads, is $1 billion in assets, and then leaving an institute that, you know, when 18-year-old DJ is like, yo, bro, I want to take business finance, not history of rock and roll, he's got a place he can go to and do that. And, you know, one of the coolest things, that my idea is that it's an application-only process, that we select are the students to the institute. By application, it doesn't cost you anything. And if you graduate at the top of your class, which means you've got the best business idea, and the board feels that you have the greatest opportunity to win, you go home with money. You don't go home with debt, stroking a check for 100 G's. Here you go, man. You graduate top of your class, go do it. Because I feel like this will create a self-perpetual motion of, like, when that kid goes on and then he's 67 and he's got, you know, $100 million worth of assets, maybe he wants to pin $10 million off and give it back to the place that got him started. And it just helps more people. Right. Man, I can see it so clearly. Like, I can close my eyes and walk through the hallways, man. I just know that, you know, I got to play this game right now for another 60 years, and then we'll get there.
I love that you said that. So understand that he said that he can see it, because
it's a vision stuff, man.
You never get in life what you want. You only get what you picture. So if you can't see it, it's not coming.
Absolutely.
It's funny hearing you say that the scoreboard to be $1 billion, because everybody thinks that $1 million is so much. And it might have been 10 years ago, it might have been 20 years ago, but now it's gonna take so much money to sustain a life that you really want. And if you really wanna be pouring into people. It's going to require a lot of money.
And people don't realize there's stages. So, like, to be a millionaire, there's actually 3 ways you could be a millionaire, in my opinion. You can have $1 million in assets, $1 million in net worth, or $1 million in income, like cash in the bank, right? Mm-hmm. Most people would argue, well, the net worth and the cash is the same thing, but like having $1 million in cash is a whole different ball game than having $1 million in cleared real estate. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I look at that like there's 3 different ways you can get there, and I had $1 million in assets by the time I was 27 and lost it by the time I was 29.
Man,
that's the game you play, though.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Win big, lose big. But I realized, like, now we're back over the hump. Like, you got to ride those waves and have that vision. And I'm telling you, it goes back to those core philosophies. Like, if you don't believe in yourself when no one else will, you'll never be able to see the vision. Because before it can even get into your mind, you're flushing it out yourself, going, well, I could never do that. Mm-hmm. That's why the friends that you keep around you, the people that you keep, like, and I don't even have friends, man, honestly. Like, we're business associates. Like, it's just, I'm on a mission. Mm-hmm. I got my girl, I got my brother, I got my mom, my dad, and my grandma. I got one living grandparent left. Like, that's it. Them's the only people that I'm like, those are my people.
Right.
Those are the only people that get to hear my dreams. Those are the only people that I ask what their thoughts are. The rest of everybody else, like, y'all are just spectators in the arena, man.
I'm
like,
the same way.
I'm not, it's not to be mad, and like, I'll kick ideas around with people, but like, that core group, and that's what a lot of you need to audit is, who is that core group for you? Because you can tell the amount of money someone has in their bank account by looking at their goals they have written down, either in their phone or on their pocket, or in paper in their pocket, and the 5 people they hang out with. I can gauge almost to the dollar, because it's just how it works, man.
Well, I got 5 personalities. Not only that, if I'm doing lunch, man, I'm probably watching some YouTube video studying a guru. So those are my associates.
Yeah, man, learning from people. I used to stay up watch YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I learned how to sell. Because I literally I started my lawn care company with $300, dude. I bought a Walmart weed eater, a Walmart push mower, couldn't afford a leaf blower or like a backpack blower, so I was push brooming off the sidewalks and driveways when I was done mowing them. Like, I'm talking straight out the mud, as they call it. Like, I was getting it, knocking on doors. Hey, man, you need your yard mowed? I remember I went to the Dodge dealership. Guy's like, you realize that's like 3/4 of an acre out there? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, you got a push mower? I was like, yes, sir, and I'll be here every week to take care of this for you. Whatever, man. And I did it. But you can't belittle yourself and not start. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta start wherever you're at, man. Mm-hmm. That's what most people don't get. They feel bad for themselves, and then they're like, oh, well, it ain't gonna work for me. I can't. Yeah. Well, I can't. Well, I would do it when I get here. Start when I'm over here on this level. Start wherever you're at, man.
Right. I shot a little quick clip last night telling people that you can get the life that you want with the life that you have. Not necessarily having to have all of this fancy equipment or a bunch of finances, but I do believe that you can get the life that you want with the life that you have. Like, for example, me and my lady, like, we had so much stuff around the house that this is gonna blow your mind. And I was like, I got so much stuff around the house that's just sitting there. So me and her gathered up some stuff and we start selling it. And people are like, how you put it on Facebook Marketplace? Yeah. People are like, what are you doing? You going broke? And I was like, nah, man, I'm cleaning out my closet. Between the both of us, I'm pretty sure I didn't get the exact amount of what she made. Man, I ended up putting 18 grand in my pocket from junk in my house. Like shoes, clothes, and I just nickel and dime it all out.
Yeah,
but
man.
You can get the life that you want with the life that you have. There's some stuff laying around somebody's house that they can sell.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, here's the other things, like, especially if you live in a bad neighborhood, like, go buy the little peephole things, man. Go door to door. Them things are like $1.50 a piece. Get you a drill. That's all you need. You know what I mean? It's like,
make people peepholes?
Not gonna, like, hey, man, we don't live in a good neighborhood. You want one of these peepholes? I put it in right now. $5, bro. Next door. You know what I mean? Like, hey, there's so many ways to make money, and like, what are you getting paid for to drill a hole and put a peephole in? Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, people want to think of why they can't. Here's the problem with that. That's pessimism. The problem with the pessimist is he shows up to the meeting with 10 ideas of why it ain't gonna work. He don't understand. You only need one. You only need one idea why it won't work. But people go so deep in that hole that they're like, oh man, it ain't gonna do it. Versus trying to figure out how can I make it work with what I got right now. That's resourcefulness, man. That's entrepreneurship too.
For sure.
That maybe sometimes that hustle is being resourceful and looking at what you got and seeing what you can make out of it.
Well, man, I want to thank you for sitting down with me. I know how busy you are. It's been a
Time
while.
over now, man. That's good.
I know. We've been trying to get together for a while.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for everybody tuning in.
Absolutely.
Like my man DJ said, get out of the stands and get on the court.
Absolutely,
or the
man.
field.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, get in the game.
Believe in yourself. And then go, follow me on social media, #Coach Carroll.
We'll put a tag in that so you can follow him.
Absolutely.
Thanks again, my man.